Welcome to Shay's Spiritual Insights. We're so glad everyone is here. And we have a couple special guests here. Of course, Susan has joined us and she's now back here in the United States for a short time. And of course, Eryn, you're here from time to time, but I'm glad to see you as well. And of course, Franny, Paula, and Marci, who's visiting us from Hawaii from afar, via telephone. So it's a wonderful thing. So I just don't have a lot to say other than you probably already are all noticed, pardon me, the just the energies coming in have continued. There's a little bit of chaos just because of the season that we're in the world, in the United States specifically. And those energies are going to be there for a while, and that's okay. We're just to stay centered in our own guidance, and just flow with that. And I'm so glad, Susan, that you stormed the border and you came in. That is absolutely wonderful. What a treat.
It is wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's start with you since you have been invited to join your neighbor's barbecue. What's happening? Share a little bit. And any questions?
Well, today, a couple of things. Today, I was reminded how important it is to protect my own energy. Because Dick has been crazy trying to get on the computer and he's upset because his password won't go in and Netflix won't go on and whatever. And finally, at the end of today, I said, excuse me, I took on your energy and it was my responsibility to step back and to have the enough awareness to step out of it. And yes. So at that point, I said, I draw the line right here. I'm looking after myself. I'm not taking on that franticness about being impatient or whatever. It's not my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so that's where I stand. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that. I got it. And sometimes a long time ago, I would have gone on and on and on without recognizing it. And now I can say, oh yeah, that's what this is about today.
Yeah, and he's being affected because of the soul group.
Absolutely.
The lower astral, the first three chakras, the frequencies associated with that are the lower emotions. That's running rampant right now, as you can see in society. And people are being affected by it. Even people that, they do all the things they need to do, but if we're not watching, our low self can jump it in there. Your high self said for you to do two things for you, and you're probably already doing it. You're already doing the bubble of light. But in front of your lower three chakras, you can see a layer of indigo blue specifically over them, as well as the violet.
Okay.
She wants you to do both. It's a layer of each for you. It'll help with those lower energies. Yes.
Yeah. So the second thing that's been really important for me, I had a really serious knee injury, and when I looked at my messages from the body, the first thing that came up was disconnection. And I thought, okay, that's what this is about. And I was feeling that. And, last year when I was here and we went into that meditation, and I said that I was ready to walk through the veil, that I had done enough. My guides asked me if I would stay, and I said yes. But, I don't know. I don't know what that's about for me. What I just don't know. I need some feedback on that.
Before I will answer that, but before I do, I think intuitively. I think you know the answer. What do you sense that it's about? And I'll tell you after that.
Well, I sense it's about my having some work to do here on the planet around other people.
Yes, and it's associated, and we've been talking about it for a while, and I'm just going to do a quick recap.
Yeah.
Everybody here that's on the screen here is part of, you've been doing this for a while, and this is the lifetime where you've got the span of work you've been doing over however many lifetimes it is. It's a body of work, let's call it that. And you're done. You're wrapping it up in a bow, and because it's complete. And it's time to shift to this new one. And that's not only for your own spiritual growth, but it's also for the work you're doing here. And that is what when you decided to stay, you moved into that more fully. You could have disconnected from it and chosen to leave in whatever manner you would have chosen to leave. But now that you're doing this, for whatever time you're here that you're choosing, you're now operating from that. You've already shifted to it, just so you know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All
You've
right.
kind of wrapped it up in a bow a little bit already.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Well, I will in about 10 more minutes. I'm going to slip very quietly away, but all of you who are there, I'm so glad just to be here with all of you today. What a blessing it is for me.
Well, us too. What a delight. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our Franny's here, obviously, and Joyce. Hello, you made it. You can go ahead and unmute. This is Debra's mom, I think. It's the Joyce, I think it is. You never know, it could be more than one.
Do you get me now?
I can hear you now. Yes,
Yay.
welcome.
Well, thank you. I don't think I had any intention of getting here. I couldn't find it for a while. So, hey, I'm celebrating.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and if you have anything to share, please do. But if not, you can listen in, and we'll go around one more time before the end. So fear not. If you don't have anything to say now, you can get it later. So anything?
I'm going to keep quiet, I think, on this first time. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you joined us. Debra will be delighted.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Eryn, do you have anything to share or to ask?
I guess probably to ask, like always.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like my shoulder is healing slowly, but that's kind of just a daily focus, I guess. The pain is slowly lessening, but it's still there, and I don't have full motion. Basically I can't raise my arm, so basically a frozen shoulder. I got it worked on last night, and I feel like there was a really good release, but I guess I just wanted to check in and see where I'm at in the process. And then like what, I guess, what do I need to look at so that I can move through this with a little more ease?
Okay, I'm going to answer that two parts. One, we've talked about the cause of that, and that's going to be, I'd like to tell you that it's going to be a bit faster, but I think it's going to go the pace that it's going. And it's because it's been over a period of lifetimes that we've talked about this before, where you've had these experiences and they're related to it, and that's what it has to do with. I am also getting that Debra has some more things she can share with you, and you may want to write her an email and she can get back to you again. I think there's probably some more things she can share as well. And it looks like you are, although it's going slow, it looks like you are moving through it, and it's going to be prolonged. And relatively speaking, although that's not going the speed you would like it to go, this is something that's been with you for so long, and in relative terms, it's going away very quickly. But it's processing at the speed because it's connected to other things. And to go any faster would, let's say, rock the apple cart a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why it's going the speed it is right now. I think it will in time, and I'm not going to try putting a number to it, but probably, it could go faster, but looks like month and a half, it could speed up some more. I know you wanted it to hear a week and a half, but I think it's going to be a bit longer than that.
Okay, that's fine. Like it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's just like bothersome and kind of annoying, and just weird that the arm won't go where I want it to go. Like that's really strange to not have, that function.
You know why? I think you do. Okay. In in some of the past instances, we've talked about your relationships, specifically in previous lives, your father and brother, and they've had different roles, um, in previous lives. But you've had abuse. We've talked about that. Significant abuse, physical as well as emotional and psychological. And some of that inhibited is the stuff coming up from those lifetimes where you were injured, both emotionally and physically. And it's why it's happening. And just bless it, let it go. And you've been doing that. I mean, I want to tell you, it's just really, it's heartwarming. I know it's not what you want, but it's heartwarming that you're letting it go. You're not holding on to it. Sometimes people, when they have this stuff come up, they get themselves into a negative attachment cycle and they unknowingly hold on to it. And you're not doing that for the most part. You got little pieces of you holding on to stuff, but for the most part, you're letting it go. And again, it looks like here, it's at a point, it's going to speed up. All of a sudden it's going to be going, oh, I'll go this way, going, and all of a sudden speed up a bit, and then more stuff will fall away. And then you'll get more, I think you're going to get greater mobility. If anyone else has anything to add to that, please do.
I have to go, everyone. It's
Well,
lovely. Bye. Yeah, love you all. And I'm so glad to be here. And joyful.
Yeah,
We
yes,
love you, Susan.
appropriately named. Thank you, Susan. Oh, you have a wonderful evening.
I will. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so Eryn, yeah, that you're doing it, and believe it or not, your high self is actually pretty pleased. She says, basically, I'm going to paraphrase because it's a little more complicated. She's giving me all kinds of information in, but you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're allowing it to happen as it should be happening. And so long as you keep doing it, I think you're going to get some more insights about it. As time goes on, you'll start having glimpses or inklings of what this is about. And when you do, just bless it and let it go, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing it right.
Okay. Yeah, I just want, just reassurance that I'm not like holding on to it and making it take longer for whatever unknown reason to myself. So yeah, that's good. I got an insight last night during a session. So that was really good. So I just, had a little chit chat with the inner child and
Yes.
just,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of her and just being understanding and compassionate. So.
And she really likes it too. She really appreciates it. And just so you know, I have said, I mean, there's some levels of you and aspects of you that hold on to the piece for a minute or for a little bit, but then it lets go. And then it holds on to some other piece and then it lets it go. So it's nothing to be concerned about at this point. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, keep up the good work with yourself. You and your child are wonderful, glorious beings, and they deserve the love.
Thank you.
Welcome. Pat, do you have anything to share or anything to ask, or both?
So, hi, everybody. So, from what you said to Eryn, I'm gathering that these things, physical, emotional, mental, on all levels, these things that are brought to our attention are actually being used by our higher selves as tools to help us grow into our higher beingness. And I guess lately I've been very curious about the whole aging process, and how much I'm not one of those people who says, oh, I want to go back till I was 25. Oh no, I don't want to repeat any of that. I'm saying that I don't want to go back to anything besides my original light being self, where I was free and with the light and the divine. And I'm boy, I don't know how to phrase this. I don't know where this whole aging stuff fits in. And I mean, it's okay. I don't hate it or anything, but I won't say that I adore it either. So maybe you can talk a little bit into that. And if anything else comes in a question, I'll throw it out to you.
All right. Well, I have two answers for you. And June chimed in. June Distel. That's our patriarch of the Elohim. Anyway, so she often said, I'm going to start with that. She often said, don't talk about her age, because what happens is there's a social programming that goes with aging.
Mm.
And which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We create the very thing, these characteristics of aging that don't necessarily have to be there. And you have, and you're in a part of, the first thing you said is that your high self, and you could say our higher guidance uses all the stuff coming up to help us grow. And it's true in that it helps us become aware of perhaps we realize, oh, I did this before because I believe this then. You become aware of it, and then we don't hold on to it. We don't make it our story. We just release it and let it go and let the light replace it. And that is one of the things. You've got some social programming, some of it from this life, a bunch of it from some previous ones, that I think you're supposed to, this is one of the things they, and that's your higher guidance, your guides, and your high self have you working on, as well as the divine. That you are to let go of those. Those are not, they don't have to be true for you. Let's just put it that way.
Awesome.
Yes, but they want she, and I'm going to say she is your high self, wants you to know, because it's, kind of got some deep roots from previous lifetimes. It's not like it's stuck or anything, but just be patient with it and just know it's a little bit more than just a little bit of a root. You're going to have probably end up working through layers of it or something. You get rid of one, then all of a sudden another one shows up or something, and that's perfectly okay. But it is for you to, this is part of your work right now, is to work on that. And you are clearly aware of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for bringing that up, because that was once a subject that was near and dear to June. She said, never talk about her age. And it's not about vanity. It's about when people speak their age, then they engage in the social programming that they don't even know they have consciously, that's associated with whatever number you happen to put out there. It's not important. And you look at some of the Old Testament characters, they really did live to be that age. They really did. There was a number of reasons why that happened. But I think, one of the elements of it was they just knew that they could. And they lived it. So, and there was a number of other reasons as well, but I'll get into that another time. But thank you for bringing that up, Pat. That is wonderful.
Thank you, Jeff, so very much.
You're welcome. Franny, are you there?
Hi,
Hello.
I am here. So nice to be here and see everybody.
Yes.
What do I have to share?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just loving the warm weather, and I like to say that I'm solar powered. I tend to run a low body temperature,
Mm-hmm.
and they keep checking my thyroid and say, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But I'm always a little bit cold. So the warm weather and the sunshine has just been glorious for me. And I feel like it's kind of like, I feel like my life is kind of like a kaleidoscope of all these beautiful colors and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been kind of chaotic over the last few years for a number of reasons. And it's still beautiful, but they weren't quite in alignment. They were more scattered, I might say. And just this summer, I can feel some of the big pieces coming into alignment. I think I mentioned this last time that I was a helper on a vision quest about a month ago, and I can really feel the power of that event playing out. There was a lot of, we did a memorial service. We've lost 5 elders in the time since we had our last gathering. And so we did a memorial service to say goodbye to them. And yet there were two other people that I was grieving while I was up there. And one of them was my brother, of course, who left about 2.5 years ago. And on my way into the Vision Quest, I stumbled over a lug nut. And my brother was a good mechanic. And he and I had an episode which was not fun at the time, but he was changing tires, put the lug nuts on, and apparently didn't get them all tight. And we were driving down the road and the wheel fell off. So that was pretty dramatic. And anyway, I know the lug nut was sort of, I felt like it was a message saying, I'm here, I'm with you, all is well, kind of blessing the journey. So I feel like I think from my point of view, one of the big things was this letting go process that you're talking about, the process of completion, wrapping things up in a bow. And I can feel from that event that there's a ton of stuff that I'm letting go. And it seems like it's still happening. Like at least as far as like the loss, well, okay. Some of that feels complete too, actually. Like my aunt that died this spring, it's like, wow, I'm in a place where I feel so grateful to have had her in my life. And I'm not, I mean, I feel like I've grieved that loss. And that's really good because I had so many losses within a short period of time, that it feels good to say, oh, wow, I think I'm in a different place with that heaviness. I actually wrote down some things. I guess another interesting thing is that while I was at the Vision Quest, one of the younger women that I hadn't seen, like we hadn't done that in 4 years, mainly because of COVID. We'd been doing it every 2 years. We hadn't done it in 4 years. So one of the younger women there, I don't know how old she is, but I'm going to guess maybe 40-ish. She started referring to me as Grandmother Fran. And I was like, oh, wow, when did I get to be a grandmother? But it was an affirmation that others are seeing me in this elder role, this kind of wise woman grandmother role. And it caught me by surprise, but I didn't feel uncomfortable with it either. And I think a lot of that was that these other elders have passed on and they're not there. And there was only one other woman who was my senior, and she was the one leading the group. So I think by, the turning of the great wheel of life, I'm moving into that stage. And along with that, I feel like I'm saying a lot. So along with that, I went on a family vacation this summer. And while I was there, I spent time with all of my cousins and a lot of their children, and a couple of them are in their 20s. And since that time, I've kept in touch with those 20-something young women. And so I'm cultivating this new relationship with them. And that just feels really, really sweet. They're both at, just that exciting stage of their life where they're opening up to what they might be and become, and they're stepping into a different part of their life, different phase of their life, but they're not in it yet. They're preparing for it, getting ready for it. So anyway, I guess I will just say that I just feel so blessed. I feel lucky to be where I am, to have my house, to have my animals, to have my garden, to have this circle. And it's been a great journey. It's been a great journey to get from striving and always feeling like I had to prove myself or work hard to demonstrate that I was worthy in some way, to feeling like, no, how I am right now, this is it, good enough just the way I am. So, and that's what I can show up with. So that's what I have to say.
Well, thank you. And it does sound like when you started out, you said you were wrapping it up. And this is one of the lifetimes. This has been a major focus. And we've talked about it before for you, you've had all this stuff and it's been hanging around a while, and it's really, before you came in this lifetime, as part of your life plan, you're really committed to letting it go so that you could live from your divine connection, and which is what we're all to do, to live that way. And you really are, I agree with you, you really are in that process of continuing to wrap it up. And it's the longer you're doing this, the more that's happening. The snowball is becoming bigger in a good way. And so, yeah, your high self she's smiling, she's pleased. And I guess that's the best thing I can share for you. Your guides are pleased too, and they want you to continue. And it looks like that is what you're going to do. And you're flowing with it, which is, boy, I'd like to think that we all do that. And I'd like to think that I always flow with it, but sometimes I don't. I mean, I know better, but I don't. So it's good to hear when you share your story, because that's an affirmation for me as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Paula, do you have anything to share or ask, or both?
Yeah, I was going to turn my camera on, but it said it didn't want to work. So
Ooh.
I would thank you for everyone that's shared so far. And Susan, Joy, we are so blessed to have you back in our valley with us. And with any luck, we'll all get to have a hug and a squeeze and a quick visit while you're here. Two things have come up for me. I think I know the answer for each, but I still would like a little bit of clarification. Generally, I would be leaving for Florida for the gathering, but I'm choosing to do it from home this time. And I'm wondering if I'm choosing that out of fear of going out because of the conditions of the world right now that we're in, or if this is me stepping back a bit, as you and I have talked about. So
Okay.
I'm just not sure which one is really ruling this one.
Well, it's not an either or, but if I were to say the majority of it is, I'm going to say you're stepping back, but let me characterize that for you. And I think at the intuitive level, I am certain you already know this. You're changing your relationship to it because you're growing, and your relationship to that group and what they're doing has changed because your spiritual growth it's evolved. And this is a reflection of it. Yes, there's a part of you in your low self that has a little bit of concern about the world, but that's a little bit of just background noise mainly. It's mainly you're stepping back, and the stepping back has to do with your growth, which is your guides and your high self are pleased with. I'm going to leave it at that. They don't want me to say anything more than that.
No, that makes perfect sense. And thank you, because I didn't feel like it was so much out of the fear base, but a lot of times that's hidden from us until we really can look at it, confront it. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. And then the other thing, when Eryn brought up about the shoulder, I had the intuitive hit that the low back issues I have are related to always feeling like I have to carry that extra burden. And I'm wondering if I pinpointed that properly, so that that's something I know I'm working on, that release, but maybe spend a little bit deeper work on it if that's really the crux of it.
I'm going to give you kind of a multi-part short answer. I'm going to try to keep it short. The answer is yes. You picked one element of it. Just so you know, the back, I think we've talked about this before, on our back, the lower back, the area that corresponds in the front to the first three chakras are where our past life baggage attaches. It's where it connects through, and then it connects from the back, ties into all that Kundalini stuff back there, but then it manifests. It looks like it happens in the front, but the reality is it connects in the back. And yes, it has to do with the burden that you are carrying. And this is a burden, by the way, that I think and boy, you already know this as well. You are in the process. It is for you to let go of this. This isn't who you are. This isn't what you're about. Those are habits and patterns of the past that perhaps in previous lifetimes they served you well. And even earlier in this life, they served you well. I mean, it was something that it was part of your life, but it's not part of who you are now. And it's not part of who you are becoming, your true self. And so my short answer is going to be yes, you pinpointed those kinds of things, an element of it. And then don't be dismayed if other things come up, because that's part of the pattern you're in the process of having the stuff come up to be released, to be blessed into the light, to be replaced by the higher, your being's higher connection for that, whatever it is, that area.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, those were both of what I intuitively felt were the bottoms of them, and I appreciate the clarification.
You're welcome, and just keep it up. Boy, they are really, you're just chugging along. And just so you know, this is about as fast as they want it to go.
Okay.
They don't
I'm
want,
fine.
yeah, I don't know if you kind of sense that I don't know anyone on the spiritual path who doesn't want things to go faster. But they said, they specifically, and they being your high self and two of your guides specifically mentioned, this is as fast as it can go right now, and keep everything, keep everything balanced and flowing in your life, moving as it should.
Thank you. I appreciate that added insight. I agree. We always would love it to go faster, but I know from many years with you guys that speed is not always of our best value. It's insight, learning, and patience.
Yes. What is it? Patience. I want patience, but Lord, give it to me
Want it
now.
now.
Yeah, I know. So, yes. Yeah, you're right. And we've talked about it before. And I know that I've shared this with the group, but I just feel like I've shared again. I one time asked to go faster, and I kept asking my guys, and they said, fine, we'll give it to you. After a few weeks of that, I said, let's go back to doing it your way,
Yeah.
Then it slowed back down, and I was grateful for that. So, thank you, Paula. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Marci, I'm sorry, you're last but absolutely not least. We are just from sunny Molokai. How is it going? Anything to share or anything to ask, or both?
Oh boy. Well, it's been good. Little more fear leaving little by little. Synchronicity. I had a cool thing where I moved the couch over where there was a clock on the wall, and I was thinking, boy, I'd like to take that clock down. It's so noisy. And a day after that, or 2 days after that, the clock quit, and it quit at exactly 12 o'clock. And I looked at it and I thought, this is crazy. And then in a short time, it started back up again. But it was the weirdest thing. It was just like, this is really amazing. So, yeah, just fun little synchronistic stuff. Right now, normally on these calls, or usually on these calls, like a lot of stuff is releasing for me physically, I can feel. And this time I'm not feeling that. I have like my left abdomen, which does this throughout the day, is like really clenched. And it's just kind of interesting because on all the other calls, stuff is actually releasing, and this time it's just tightening up even more.
Well, it's actually it's actually I don't know what the word is, smoother, calmer flow. But yeah, it is because it's not time. It's happening as it should. I'm going to put it that way. I don't want to get into a long explanation, but it's happening as it should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny because all the other calls, I can feel the stuff just peeling off, and this time it's just like, not going anywhere.
And one of the reasons that's happening, this is from the universe, is that you're getting ready for. Remember, we talked about another path decision coming up. You're about on top of it, pretty close. And I'm not sure if it's going to be at an inner level or an outer or both. But this has a culminating. It's kind of gathering stuff so that it can be let together, kind of be processed as a group of stuff to be released. And I think it's going to be it's a natural part of the unfoldment that's happening in your life.
Okay.
I don't have much more to say than that because they don't want to tell me more than that. Because I think it's anytime, you know how it is, when they don't tell me, it's because it's for the person to become aware of it themselves organically rather than being told.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of along the lines of what you were saying with Pat and, you know, and Eryn with the body part things. What about teeth?
What about what? I'm sorry.
What about teeth? Because I know you're talking about, you know, like the lower back is this and the shoulders that. What about teeth? Because I've had this going on for a couple years, and my guidance is no, just leave it, just trust, just leave it, and it's and so that's what I'm doing. But is there something to know about them that will help it resolve one way or the other faster?
Yes, in
Better?
time. Not yet.
Not yet.
Believe it or not,
Okay.
it is. I say tacit. There's elements of what's coming up for the unfoldment, and it's a natural one. I don't want it to sound. I want you to be apprehensive about it. I think it's just going to be as it comes up. You'll, in your way that you always do, you'll flow with things, and there's some insights associated with it with this next phase you're going into. But yes, there is for things for you to know, but not yet, and it's because it's down a little ways and it needs to come up in a natural manner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to tell you you'll know next week, but it's just happening as it should, and it's yeah, it's just happening as it should. So yeah.
Okay. I think just like a little thing to share. It was really cool today when I was outside and I took my flip-flops off and I was in the bare dirt, and instantly I felt the warmth and love, and without any thought or anything. It was just like, oh, we don't even realize what we're missing so much of the time. You know, it's just, I mean, it's so palpable.
It is, and
You
you
know,
have such a connection to Mother Earth, especially there in Hawaii because of the creative Elohim energies. But and Deborah and I were just talking about you earlier. I said, everybody's grounding chakra, which is very common because we wear shoes, our body becomes disconnected from the earth, and therefore the grounding chakra becomes more closed than it should. And I said, the only exception to this is Marci. She's the only one I've always seen, because you wear flip-flops and go barefoot so much. Your grounding chakra is always perfect. You're always wide open. So whenever you stand on the dirt, you're ready to receive. You're ready to have Mother Earth embrace you and fill you with her beautiful energy. I'm envious,
yeah,
actually.
it's such a beautiful feeling. It just, everything looked so beautiful afterwards too. It was just like the water looked more beautiful, and yeah, it's just really, I feel really lucky.
Yeah, and it's because of your
It,
connection with the earth. It's
it's,
just go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's tricky because there's so much going on for all of us energetically, and a lot of it's not comfortable, but just to keep reminding ourselves how lucky we are seems to be key.
Yeah, and it's something that you really cherish and value. I mean, it's really, I'm sensing that about you. I mean, lots of people really like that Mother Earth energy and they really do value it, but it's more than that for you. It's much more integral for you than for so many people, even those who really have a connection with Mother Earth. Yours is a deep, a depth, or I don't know, of an intimacy that's different than other people.
Yeah, yeah. This is just kind of a out there question, but I don't really have, like, you talk about the Father and the different spiritual titles or whatever, and for me it's more energetic thing. Everything's more energetic maybe, but what would be the equivalent energetically of Holy Mother?
Gaia, for you.
Okay, that explains it.
Yep.
That explains it.
Yep, that's what it is, and she is the earthly equivalent of the mother. They are related, they're related.
Uh,
Yeah, but that's
yeah.
definitely it for you. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Love
You're
you
welcome.
guys.
Thank you for sharing. And just so you know, it doesn't have to be personalized. You know, the whole Eastern religions, you know, they once, Bill Moyers asked Joseph Campbell during that famous 6-part interview, you know, can people have a relationship with an impersonal God? And they said, yeah, it happens all over the world because it's more of an energetic connection thing rather than a personified one. But I found for myself, sometimes I interact with the father or the mother more energetically, and other times it's more as, you know, as a personality. It can happen both ways, or sometimes both at the same time. So however it happens for you, that's what's right for you.
Okay, great, great, thank you. And is there anything else that I could ask you, or have we covered it?
I think we've covered it because most of it's coming up. You're in the process. You talked about why it's not being released. It's because it's culminating for this next phase that you're moving into. It's not like it's going to be tumultuous or anything. You're just moving into this next phase, and you're going to have the things associated with that coming up. And that's all they're telling me, and they don't want me to look any more. So I'm just going to leave it at that and respect their boundaries. And yeah, just keep flowing with it and keep enjoying Hawaii, because I definitely, from time to eventually Debra and I will go visit there because it's time. I think everyone should visit Hawaii at least once.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know where we are.
Yeah, I do. We'll have to see what happens.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to say I have a lot more. Today was kind of I was wondering, you know, a lot of times they have things that they want to have bring up, and they're like, okay, that's fine. And I didn't have a lot other than to talk about the energies of the world are definitely more chaotic, and they're going to be this way for a while. It has to do with the period we're in. And I feel so grateful in my own life having had June and Dr. McKimmey, for those who knew him, the healer, who talked about all this. For decades, they talked about this is coming, and now it's here. And we're just to stay centered in our own connection and live from that. What is it? Be in the world, but not of it. And that truly is the guidance that comes in from the divine for all of us. And to do it, continue for all of you doing what you're doing, because you're really, although we all have our challenges, you're all doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that's wonderful. Does anyone else have anything else to share or ask before? I think we're going to probably close it up here, wrap it up.
I have a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sitting here. I've been able to go to another level, and so some things are knocking around inside for me. One is that I have 3 trips coming up over the next 2 months, and that sounds like a lot for me. Like, it usually takes me some recovery time in between. And I wonder, one is logistically complicated, one is a memorial service. The other one I think will be easy. I'm in the process of getting approval for some days off, and I don't have that yet. Can you speak to whether all 3 of those are in my highest good, for my highest good?
I can speak to what one of your guys, I don't know which one it is, in your high self said. There's other elements of what I'm going to talk about here with those trips, but part of what these are about. Now, when I got it, it's like, boy, they were, I was shown the trips, and part of what it is for you to do, this is part of, I don't know, some level of learning that I think you're aware of it already at the intuitive level, at your sensing intuitive level. It's for you to learn how to be able to flow with these things, you know, when you have these complicated, you know, things that are of the nature that they are, to be able to flow with them in your higher connection without, and not allow the lower stuff to come in as much, you know, during the times that you're doing it, you know, from others. Does that make sense?
Okay. Sure. I mean, I have to, I'll have to really work at that.
Yeah.
Right. I used to be good at that, but I'm not now. Now it's kind of cumbersome, you know, definitely the lower self gets real tripped up by a lot of different things. So yeah, thank you for that. That's
Yeah, but part of, believe it or not,
okay.
you're ready for it. I know it says you can cumbersome. That is absolutely the perfect word. I'm glad you used that word. That is what your high self said, the exact same word. She said that same, you just used her word. And it doesn't need to be. You're at a point right now where you have you've let go of enough other stuff. You have these higher patterns that are in, and you're ready to, I don't know, bring them more in line into the forefront and to operate that way. You're ready for this. And you may not feel like you are, but you are. That's from them. That's not from me. I'm just repeating. And that's from your high self. She says, no, this is for you to do. And yeah, it may be some challenging from time to time, but as you learn to do it and allow yourself to stay in the feathery or lighter energies and not the other ones, it's going to be such a gift to yourself, not only for these trips, but throughout all the areas of your life. This really is applicable to the whole landscape of your life. And that's all they want me to say. I can't say anymore. I'm sorry.
One of them is a reunion with people that I haven't seen in 45 years.
Yeah.
And so like I'm looking over the list of people and there's some people I'm like, oh, so who was that? What did they look like? And I'm thinking of calling somebody to say, hey, who was that person? And there's a handful of them. It's not like just one or two people. It's like, oh, I sort of vaguely maybe remember them, but maybe not. So I also have a little apprehension over, anyway. But I feel like, these are people that I all knew during college when I was in my early 20s. And so to get back together with them, and see how our lives have unfolded, that certainly is going to be a really interesting experience. And that's the one that has the potential to be complicated logistically. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm going to keep that image of flowing. I have another question that might be kind of premature, but I'm going to throw it out there. It's related to work. In the last few weeks, it feels like I'm doing some deeper, I don't know how to describe it except to say I'm deepening my relationship both with work and with I think the kind of impact that I'm having. And it's very humbling for me. I feel like I've got a greater level of confidence that I'm bringing to my work. And, I have no illusion that it's just me. I know that it's the creator working through me. I just feel really grounded in some of my work. I have avoided being in situations where anybody would ask me to either write a letter or go to court with them. I've been told by a couple of different people that I was called to a courtroom in a past life and I told the truth, but people wanted me to lie, to point the finger at someone else, and I told the truth. And so I was hanged for that. Yes, and one of the people that told me that was that I don't have to be afraid in this lifetime, that it's important that I use my voice. But I have to say, I still have this incredible fear of going to court. There is a situation with a teenager that I'm working with, and it seems like his divorced parents are heading back to court over a child custody issue, and I may be asked to write a letter for that. I guess my question would be, what guidance do you have for me? Is there a way for me to face that fear and release it? And is that related to a past life? So is it all about just confronting that fear and saying that's I'm done with and I no longer have to be afraid and I can stand in my truth? And any guidance you can give me on that kind of growing edge would be helpful.
Yeah, it has to do with past life and other situations and other lives, but that one was a traumatic for you, definitely. And one of the things that in what I got for your answer from them, from the divine, from your higher guidance, your high self and guides, it is for you to speak your truth, but do it in a way. If you remember, if you've read the scriptures, and I'm sure you obviously have, Jesus and always answered the questions. The Pharisees and the Sadducees were always trying to trick him so that they could get him to say something so that they could go and get him out of their lives because he was interfering with their corruption. But he would always answer cleverly. He would answer the truth, but he would do it in such a way in the moment that he would guide it. So if the answer was there, but it wasn't what they were expecting, yet it answered the question and he was able to, obviously he was going to be completely truthful. And it is for you to use this is from your high self specifically, but you're also the divine and your higher guidance, for you to, yes, do that, but allow your intuition for you to speak your truth in a way that is, you're getting the information out there, but in a way that is appropriate, for you. It's presented in a manner that it's, they still may not like it, but it will be acceptable. I'm going to just say it that way. I don't have another word for it. That's the process you're in. This is part of your learning. So, and you just didn't have the awareness in that previous lifetime where you spoke the truth. You spoke the blunt truth. Because as we grow, we have greater awareness throughout each lifetime and then each subsequent lifetime. Had you had the awareness in that lifetime that you had now, you wouldn't have probably found yourself in that predicament. And that's what you're doing now. This is the next phase of that. So, and I agree that I think it is something it is for you to do, but you are to, again, use your connection with your guidance to do it in a way that is appropriate. Oh, I think she just dropped off. But anyway, if you watch the video again later, that's the answer from your high self. Did you get that, Franny? Okay, she must have. I hope you did.
Yeah, I'm back. My call it's getting dropped. I'm back. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. And
yeah,
and you're ready for this. You are ready. You need to be prudent, but you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Joyce, do you have anything now? Anything to share or anything to ask, or just you want to stand by?
It's way over my head, Guy. I have not been used to listening to this kind of, I don't know, spiritual higher self and the what do you call them? Your guiders. Is that what you call them?
The guides. A lot of people think in the Bible they talk about guardian angels and such things, and some people have angels. You actually have some that are your guides, but we call them guides. They're spiritual beings who have been assigned to us to help us in this lifetime, and they're just as the Bible say, that is why they're here. And when we're ready, we can hear them. But even when we can't hear them, their hand and their presence is in our life. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know that, but it's just kind of a little beyond my grade right now. I'm just getting into this, and I have a long way to go.
Well, you're doing awesome. So thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Anyone else have anything? Pat or Paula?
Yeah,
Marci,
hey,
Eryn?
Jeff,
Go ahead.
it's Paula. I forgot to say this when I first talked. Joyce, it was such a delight to meet you. I enjoyed visiting with you, and you really are just a shining little beacon. And it really did bless my heart to meet you. And I look forward to your joining us. And we all started this path when we started it, and we're still here. And I look forward to having you watch you on your journey. And for Eryn, I was going to remind her of her MAP healing team. I do remember mine on occasion, and that's our medical assistance program, Eryn. If you want to, I think you can find some information out on that if you're not aware of it. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks, Joy.
welcome.
It was nice meeting you too. And I just enjoyed my time over in Montana, especially with Deb and Jeff, and it was just a real treat. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Pat, do you have anything more to share before you go, or Eryn?
No, I just want to say I'm really grateful for this group and for the opportunity that we have to come together and ask our questions. And then if it's appropriate, we find some answers for ourselves through what others are asking or sharing. So, and I thank you, Jeff, so much for hosting it and being the beautiful light that you are.
Well, thank you. Well, I think everyone here is a light, and we've talked about it many times. Each of us is a channel for the other. I mean, we are all truly vessels of light for each other, and the divine will use us collectively to help each other. So I just, it's a mutual blessing when we come together. It just always is, and I'm always grateful. I'm always pumped up afterwards even if it's late, I can't go to sleep right away because I'm so energized. It takes me a while to wind down from this whole thing. So I thank you all for being here and for sharing your light. So, all right, Eryn, do you have anything else before we go? All righty. I guess that's it. Marci, do you have anything?
No, I'm good. Love you guys.
All right, well, listen, just to everyone, until next month or to the next time, blessings, light, and love, and we'll see you soon. I'll try to get this posted tonight. No promises, but I will try to do that. Oh,
Thank
I'm
you,
supposed to
Jeff.
mention one more thing. I almost forgot. Debra said we have so much stuff coming up, especially with the master seminar. She's going to be canceling the Zoom sound showers this month and next month. So the next one will be in November 9th. She just has too much stuff on her plate, and she realizes she won't be able to do it all and do it well. So she just had to make the tough choice of canceling the next 2 Zoom sound showers. So, but we'll still have the in-person ones, so not to fear. So anyway, sorry I didn't mention that earlier. Blessings, light, and love, and until next month or next time, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye, everybody.
Bye.